Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Minecraft world. It's been a little bit, I think around 2 or 3 months since the last video that I made in here, but we, in the previous video, worked on a night market. Just over there, you can just about see some of the lanterns and trees and stuff within my render distance, so that's where we were last time. Today, we are in one of the older regions of the world again, so this section of the city here is called Windcrest. It is one of the original suburbs slash districts, I guess, and it hasn't really received much attention from me, unfortunately. It's been the neglected suburb. Really, it's been the region of the world I haven't really built in a while. But today, I wanted to turn my attention back to this section, but specifically down under. So I'll just go ahead and make my way down and show you guys. So this was initially built in 1.3. And it had some additions made to it in 1.5, which I'll go ahead and just show you real quick. It was these 3 stores over here. So this one right here was like a boat store, this was a fish store, and over right next to it, I think was like a fruit and vegetable thing or something. I don't know what this one was. The idea for this place actually originated from my first ever world tour video. I got a comment, it was actually one of the first comments I got on it, by someone who was suggesting to make this like some kind of like Smuggler's Cove kind of thing. And I really, really liked that idea. And I was like, you know, I wrote that down and I was like, you know, I'm gonna eventually do this, and this is what came of it. It is something really lackluster, and clearly the reason I didn't continue it was because it just looked so shit. I was like, yeah, this needs a complete rework. And yeah, once again, this is why we are here today. So we'll be kind of taking that idea and trying to go on with it, I guess. So basically, what I want to start off with, which is what I've actually kind of already done, is just kind of making more of these store areas. I've kind of started to outline them, and I'm going to kind of terraform the terrain a bit, make it fit in a bit more, and just see what we can do. I also do have a couple of things written down as to, you know, what to build. But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get started on that, and I will meet you guys again in a second, and we'll go over the exact plans and stuff as to what I'm going to be building. Alrighty, welcome back everybody from the very brief intermission there. So, as I said I would do, I pretty much just kind of prepared everything for the actual, you know, proper decorations and stuff. So I went ahead and just dug out some more areas, done some small changes to certain areas and stuff. And I'm just going to quickly go over what I've done in that brief time period. So first and foremost, as you can probably see, I've gone ahead and moved the slabs up here to the top half of the block instead of the bottom half. Reason I've done that was because if I added any like decorations and stuff on top of this, you know, it won't be floating above it. The next thing to note is the actual stores themselves. So these have received a bit of a upgrade, I guess, or downgrade rather, because I've gone ahead and decided to make them look a bit more rundown and whatnot, because that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. You know, I'm trying to make this place look like it's got some shady shit going on, so of course making it look all rundown and stuff is the way to go. If I just quickly run through, you could see I've done it for the other 2, and I've also dug out some more over here. The only other notable thing here is this section. So this area, you could see, has been dug out a whole lot more than the other ones, and the idea for here is to make some kind of bar, you know, and the last thing being just a bit of terraforming that I've done. You know, I've kind of extended this cliff face out a little bit. I still think it needs a little bit more work. It doesn't look quite perfect just yet, but it's alright for now. It does the job, and like I said, we'll come back to it and make it look a whole lot better by the end. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the actual decoration side of things, and I will meet you guys back right after the montage. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from the montage. So the build is finally completed, or at least in a close enough to completed stage. I will explain what I mean about that in a second, but as you can see, it is pretty much done, I guess. So once again, a little refresher in case you forgot, this place is meant to be a smuggler's market. So pretty much a old dilapidated market turned into a smuggler's paradise, you know, a bunch of goods and stuff being brought in from across the world into this very fine location. So just to give a quick run through of all the areas, I'm not going to go as in depth as I normally do because there's not really much to see. As you can see, all the shops kind of follow the same theme, having that kind of rundown vibe. I've used the jungle logs in some of these areas. I think I said it before, but the reason I'm using them is because they kind of look like a mossy version of the oak wood if rotated correctly. I unfortunately can't get that rotation on all sides because this is actually the normal face of it. And you can't get it on all sides. I tried using the jungle wood, as you can see. It just doesn't work on all sides, unfortunately. So there are some parts where it looks a bit weird. And I kind of gave up on it when doing it on the sides here. So there's that. But if we just kind of continue to run through, as you can see, you've got, I guess, things that just fit into the theme. So, you know, you've got boats, you got a fish market. Then a bit further down, you know, you got weapons and tools. And then you got a store that just sells a bunch of junk. Right next to it, one that sells a bunch of treasure. And then over here is a fishing related store. And just over here is actually a demolition store, I guess a TNT store. I made this one because I just had a ton of TNT and I was like, let me do something TNT related, you know, maybe I'll make a TNT store. So that's what this is. Across the bridge over here, we have a cartography store because, of course, if you want to find your treasures and stuff, you're going to need a cartographer to pinpoint the direction to go in. This place has your compasses, your clocks, and this is meant to be a treasure map. I just didn't have any buried treasure maps lying around, so... and then here's just some maps of some nearby regions. This is a different kingdom. And then over here is actually a map of the area. You can see right where we are, where that green arrow is. Heading... the next one right here is just a potion store, of course. You know, you're going to need your potions. One thing I did kind of realize, these stores don't necessarily fully sell the vibe of it being things bought in from across the world. But, you know, once I guess I get some inventory in these places, I can get a bit more of that established. Because it's a bit hard to get artifacts from other places in the world when, you know, there's not really many artifacts in the game to use. So, yeah, I guess the idea is, I don't know, these potions are made from ingredients from, you know, across the world or something. And same applies for all these other places. And I did also add all these leaves and stuff. I'll just quickly mention that. I tried to obviously give the place an overgrown vibe, you know, given it's all run down and stuff. And I think I did a decent enough job. It's not perfect. And, you know, with these vines too, unfortunately, there's no way to really stop vines from growing and spreading. So they just keep on growing and growing and just becomes really overgrown eventually. So I need to kind of come by here and do some maintenance every now and then. But yeah, there's that. But yeah, as you can see, I kind of tried to cover the place up to give it that more secluded vibe, I guess. I don't think I did a very good job at it, but I think it's a decent enough job. You know, it does the job. But heading over this way to the final location, which I'll actually give a little bit of a tour of, we have a bar. So this came to me a bit later while I was actually doing the other ones. I eventually came to this location and was like, you know, I should really make like a bar or something. It would be the perfect setting because, you know, you got this smuggler's market or smuggler's cove. Got all these people, you know, they've got to sit together and make their plans and stuff as to what they're going to smuggle in and smuggle out, I guess. We've got the jukebox over here, of course. You know, there's a bar, we've got to have some music. So if we go ahead and grab a disc as well and I put it into the jukebox, it actually lights up this lamp. I hooked up a comparator in the back to do that. I just thought it was kind of cool. So that's what I did. Okay. And yeah, we got the actual bar over here too. Bunch of brewing stands and even some food. You know, you got to feed your patrons as well. And up on this top section, I think is just more tables and chairs. Yeah, that's all it is. But yeah, I mean, that is pretty much everything there is to show for this area. Now, as I was saying before, when I was saying that this place isn't really fully completed, what I mean by that is if we just head back over this way. Now you have these docks over here, which I started off on. I actually wanted to revamp these, make them a bit bigger, and actually have some ships floating in the water. But I decided to just leave that because I have been working on this for quite a while now. I didn't want to really extend this video out any longer, so I decided to just can it and leave it for a future episode in this world because I do actually want to build some ships just floating in the water as well, so maybe we can make a video just dedicated to that and you know, just I guess by extension work on this area as well. But yeah, that is pretty much everything I want to go through and everything that I've done in this video. So as per usual, if you do have any suggestions on things to add into this or change about this or anything, please feel free to let me know in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions. You know, this whole build was literally made from a suggestion. But if you did enjoy the video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you want to join along for the journey. I do also have a Discord, link in the description if you want to join there and leave suggestions there, or just chat there, whatever, you can do that too. Another thing I should note that I feel like I can't remember if I've actually noted in previous videos, I do stream in this world here and there. So if you do want to catch those streams where I do some, you know, builds that I don't necessarily deem fit for videos, you can do that too. I do post stream pings in my Discord, so if you want to use the Discord for getting pings for streams, you can do that too. But otherwise, that is pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this video. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.